You really want to look and feel different, and there's this obsession over image, and these guys are, husbands or their fathers. They have kids that are teenagers. These aren't guys who are 17 who wish they had the body of a 30-year-old. These are guys who are 35 who wish they just had a different 35-year-old's body.
Yeah.
Then maybe a month or two after that, GQ magazine had a whole article on the rise of steroids. And so then the connection to me with my thesis on my dissertation, that you have one phenomenon where people who are gender dysphoric are shooting themselves with testosterone because they're women who feel like they're men, and you have men shooting themselves with testosterone because they're men who don't feel like men. And so the connection to technology and the way that we assume bodies ought to be because of technology is all a part of this. Like you would not have had this type of thinking or feeling about male body image, especially as it relates to muscle, apart from technological intervention. Like we talk about Photoshop and how it made body image so hard for women. 20, 25 years ago. Instagram, bad for women. But I'd say Photoshop is harming men, but I think steroid culture, testosterone culture is harming men more. And so now we see that body dysmorphia, not necessarily gender dysmorphia, but not liking your body, or they call it muscle dysmorphia, is as common in teen boys as it is in teen girls. And so body image, which used to be seen as a female thing, because you go to the grocery store and you're checking out and there's all these things catered to women, that's lose 40 pounds in 4 weeks, that was all about skinniness or becoming smaller. Now you see the same stuff for men, but on the opposite side, getting bigger. And so what men and women have in common is they don't like their bodies. Women tend to want theirs smaller, men tend to want theirs bigger. And so it all, to me, is related to technology. I wrote an article recently and submitted it, and the whole idea was, I called it Hogwarts anthropology, meaning we all go to Hogwarts now. We want to say a spell, we want to drink a potion, we want to say the magic words, and we view our bodies as fundamentally customizable. All that goes into that is wild. So even if you think about, if you Google right now Muhammad Ali, and you see a picture of Muhammad Ali, what people call one of the greatest athletes of all time, you see him with his shirt off, and he looks like if that guy walked onto the CrossFit Games field, you'd think, who is that doofus out there who's out of shape and doesn't know what he's doing? And so that was, just a generation ago, the epitome or the peak of male physique was actually achievable through general good exercise and generally good diet. Whereas now you go to Deadpool versus Wolverine and you see Hugh Jackman take his shirt off and he's shredded to pieces, 60-ish or 70 years old, tons of muscle mass, less than 8% body fat, shredded to high heaven. And that is fundamentally not possible without chemical interventions or hormonal interventions or pharmacology. And so just like now people, instead of praying, they want to eat mushrooms, they want to take a chemical or a technological intervention and impose it, they want a microwave version of prayer. So also you have this kind of steroid version of body image. And so our entire assumption on what constitutes a healthy looking male is skewed by steroid culture, Instagram culture. So to the point, I bet some people who look like Muhammad Ali think that they aren't strong enough, big enough, fast enough, fit enough, when in reality 60 years ago they would look like the fittest person on earth. And that creates a lot of pressure for men.
Okay, so I think there's so many things that you said there. So first of all, I've talked about this maybe very briefly. So I've actually been on TRT for the better part of two and a half years because of another medical issue that I had that solved for. And this is where this I really became aware of this conversation. There was so much shame in talking about it that there was nowhere to go. It was oh my gosh, I have this issue. I'm having these issues. Who do I talk to? If I talk about this part of this issue, what's going to happen? If I talk to these people, oh my gosh, they're going to judge me differently. Then I started on TRT, and it was top secret. Nobody, one person knew. Well, my wife, and then one person And I'm like, dude, sworn to secrecy. You can never tell anybody. Like I didn't want, because it wasn't for like, performance, in the gym. And so I didn't want people to think that's what I was doing it for. But it just opened up all of these other discussions that I started having. I started talking to guys about, again, just their own issues with physique and looking in the mirror. I was talking to guys about sexual issues with ED and things that were happening. So all of these things are piling in on these guys, all the while, like we would have seen 20 years ago with women in magazine covers and even farther. Now, your Hugh Jackman example or whomever else, it's like, not only are men having so many mental and emotional struggles with dealing with comparing themselves to these things and then maybe true physical issues, but there's no space to talk about them. And so they just go to what is being publicized typically, which is, I'm just going to go on a steroid cycle, or I'm just going to go find somebody to prescribe me TRT, and I'm just going to figure it out for myself. And so I think that's where a lot of the struggle is too, is like, where do you even go when you start having these feelings of doubt, shame, struggle, and that you can trust is healthy, because there's just not space to be created.